When I was 14, I read the transcript of Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony at the Democratic National Convention in 1964. After reading this transcript for the first time, it changed the course of my life. And maybe by reading it to you today, it will do the same for you. It begins. Mr. Chairman and the Credentials Committee, my name is Miss Fannie Lou Hamer, and I live at 626 East Lafayette Street, Rouville, Mississippi, Sunflower County, the home of Senator James O. Eastland and Senator Stennis. It was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register, to try to become first-class citizens. We was met in Indianola by Mississippi men, highway patrolmen, and they only allowed 2 of us to take the literacy test at a time. After we had taken the test and started back to Rouville, we was held up by the city police and the state highway patrolmen and carried back to Indianola, where the bus driver was charged that day with driving a bus the wrong color. After we paid the fine amongst us, we continued on to Rouville, and Reverend Jeff Sonny carried me 4 miles in the rural area where I had worked as a timekeeper and a sharecropper for 18 years. I was met there by my children, who told me that the plantation owner was angry because I had gone down to try to register. After they told me, my husband came and said that the plantation owner was raising Cain because I had tried to register. And before he quit talking, the plantation owner came and said, "Fannie Lou, do you know? Did Pap tell you what I said?" And I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I meant that." He said, "If you don't go down and withdraw your registration, you will have to leave. Then if you go down and withdraw," he said, you might have to go because we are not ready for that in Mississippi." And I addressed him and told him and said, "I didn't try to register for you. I tried to register for myself." I had to leave that same night. On the 10th of September 1962, 16 bullets was fired into the home of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Tucker for me. That same night, 2 girls were shot in Rouville, Mississippi. Also, Mr. Joe McDonald's house was shot in. And in June the 9th, 1963, I had attended a voter registration workshop, was returning back to Mississippi. 10 of us was traveling by the Continental Trailway bus. When we got to Winona, Mississippi, which is in Montgomery County, 4 of the people got off the bus to use the washroom, and 2 of the people to use the restaurant. 2 of the people wanted to use the washroom. The 4 people that had gone in to use the restaurant was ordered out. During this time, I was on the bus, but when I looked through the window and saw they had rushed out, I got off the bus to see what had happened. And one of the ladies said it was a state highway patrolman, and a chief of police ordered us out. I got back on the bus, and one of the persons had used the washroom got back on the bus. As soon as I was seated on the bus, I saw when they began to get the 4 people in a highway patrolman's car. I stepped off the bus to see what was happening, and somebody screamed from the car that the 4 workers was in and said, "Get that one there." And when I went to get in the car, when the man told me I was under arrest, he kicked me. I was carried to the county jail and put in the booking room. They left some of the people in the booking room and began to place us in cells. I was placed in a cell with a young woman called Miss Everesta Simpson. After I was placed in the cell, I began to hear the sound of kicks and horrible screams. And I could hear somebody say, "Can you say yes? Yes, sir, nigga? Can you say yes, sir?" And they would say other horrible names. They would say, "Yes, I can say yes, sir. So say it." She says, "I don't know you well enough." They beat her, and I don't know how long. And after a while, she began to pray and ask God to have mercy on these people. And it wasn't too long before the 3 white men came to my cell. One of these men was a state highway patrolman, and he asked me where I was from. And I told him Rouville. He said, "We're going to go check this." And they left my cell, and it wasn't too long before they came back. He said, "You are from Rouville, all right." And he used a curse word, and he said, "We are going to make you wish you was dead." I was carried out of that cell into another cell where they had 2 Negro prisoners, and the state highway patrolman ordered the first Negro to take the blackjack. The first Negro prisoner ordered me, by orders from the state highway patrolman, for me to lay down on a bunk bed on my face, and I laid on my face. The first Negro began to beat, and I was beat by the first Negro until he was exhausted, and I was holding my hands behind me at the time on my left side because I suffered from polio when I was 6 years old. After the first Negro had beat until he was exhausted, The state highway patrolman ordered the second Negro to take the blackjack. The second Negro began to beat, and I began to work my feet. And the state highway patrolman ordered the first Negro who had beat to sit on my feet to keep me from working my feet. I began to scream, and one white man got up and began to beat me, my head, and told me to hush. One white man, my dress had worked up high, and he walked over and pulled my dress down, and he pulled my dress back up. I was in jail when Medgar Evers was murdered. All this is on account we want to register to become first-class citizens. And if the Freedom Democratic Party is not seated now, I question America. Is this America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off the hooks because our lives be threatened daily, because we want to live as decent human beings in America? And that is the end of the transcript. We don't get to sit this one out. We don't get to put our heads in the sand. Our ancestors, they went through things that deserve our respect and our discipline in this moment to fight for the life they didn't get to live. I love you, black man. I love you, black woman. Knowledge is power. Power to the people.
See, Mississippi is not actually Mississippi's problem. Mississippi is America's problem. Because if America wanted to do something about what has been going on in Mississippi, it could have stopped by now. It wouldn't have been in the past few years between 40 and 50 churches bombed and burned. You see, and this leads me to say, all of the burning and bombing that was done to us and the houses, nobody never said too much about that, and nothing was done. But let something be burned, by a black man, and then, my God, you see, the flag is drenched with our blood. Because you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We had to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man, as we know the country was built on the black backs of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we will build it. Yeah. All across this country, they know what they've done to us.
Now, y'all know I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And if you're not, you must not be paying attention. You ever heard of Fannie Lou Hamer? She's the one who said that. And if you haven't heard about her, it's because history doesn't like telling stories about black women who refused to shut up and play nice. This woman was a sharecropper with no formal education who took on the U.S. government, the Democratic Party, and white supremacists, and she won. Fannie Lou Hamer was born in 1917 into a sharecropping family in Mississippi, meaning she grew up working for white landowners who paid black families pennies. In 1962, at 44 years old, she tried to register to vote, something that could get you killed in Mississippi. That night, her boss fired her, armed men hunted her, and her life changed forever. But instead of backing down, this woman fought back. Hamer became one of the leading voices of the civil rights movement and co-founded the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party to challenge an all-white Democratic Party in Mississippi. In 1964, she led a delegation to the Democratic National Convention, demanding that the MFDP be recognized. She gave a speech on national television, describing how she was beaten in jail for just trying to vote. President Lyndon B. Johnson was so afraid of her impact, he interrupted her broadcast with a fake press conference to stop people from hearing her. She said, "Is this America, the land of the free and the home of the brave, where we have to sleep with our telephones off the hook because our lives be threatened daily, just because we want to live as decent human beings?" That speech changed everything. It forced the Democratic Party to reform their racist policies. It led to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Hamer fought for voting rights, economic justice, and Black political power, the same things that are still under attack today. The voter suppression that she faced looks a lot like what's happening right now, from voter ID laws to gerrymandering. And just like then, Black women are still the backbone of democracy, but rarely get credit. If you care about voting rights today, you owe Miss Hamer her flowers. And her most famous quote, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired," still holds true today. Fannie Lou Hamer wasn't a politician. She wasn't rich. She wasn't famous. She was just a woman who decided enough was enough. So, say her name, Fannie Lou Hamer.
I'm Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I farmed on the Marlowe plantation for 18 years. I had charge of keeping up with the time and paying off, and I went down the 31st of August to try to register. And after I had gotten back home, Mr. Marlowe told me that I would have to go down and withdraw my registration or leave, because they wasn't ready for that in Mississippi. And I said, "Mr. Marlowe, I'm trying to register for myself." So I had to leave that same night after I had gone down in August. And then I spent one night with Mrs. Tucker, and after about 2 days in September, they shot in the house 15 times, thinking that I was there.
The story of Fannie Hamer Lou, or Fannie Lou Hamer, is one story that touched my heart so much. And I'm like, do you even know your ancestors? Do you know what they fought for? I'm talking to Black Americans. Do you know how hard people like this worked hard for the things you have today? And that is why we keep talking about the importance of upholding to those things these sheroes and heroes fought for. Like, she literally fought for this thing with her life. It's not easy just for her to get her people to vote. She went through a lot. And this one is one among the thousands of stories, heartbreaking stories, that we've gone to see online, or we've got to see online about Black American heroes. Those people who were very loud, those people who were unashamed and very straightforward. They tell you how it is and what they want without minding what the consequences would be. That is the kind of person I want to be. And that is the kind of person I want you to be. Of course, I have no right over your life. I have no right over what you think. But when you look at the labors of your heroes, your ancestors, I think we need people like this. We need more Fannie Lou. We need people like this. And we have a lot of them, to be honest. Yeah, we have a lot. I've seen so much. But what I don't know is if they can literally give their life for the culture. Can they do that for their people? This is a whole lot. It's so touching. I cried. When I heard that story, I'm like, come on. And I have an auntie. Her name is Fanny. Now I know where my grandfather got that name from. She's truly a hero. And she will always live on. And she will continue to live in the life of generations to come. Because what she did today is what we are enjoying today. Right? What she did in the past is what we are enjoying today. And that's a whole lot. That is who a hero is. She is what she said she is. Right? Thank you so much for watching this video. Kindly share, like, and comment. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.